Welcome to Behind the Stripes, another quarantine episode. My name is Preston Petrie alongside Luis Leyva and another Luis Solignac, probably a better Luis, San Antonio FC forward. Welcome to the show, both of you guys. Lucho, thanks for coming on. We appreciate your time.
Of course, thank you guys for the invitation.
Yeah, Luis Leyva, you want to start us off?
Yeah, for sure, Lucho. Just catch us up, man. It's been a few weeks since we've seen you. What have you been up to? How have you been keeping busy?
Doing a lot of things actually. Actually, been busier than usual, more than before the quarantine, because I started doing a lot of reading. I also doing my coaching licenses, so it was a good time to catch up on that and start reading everything again. To start doing the final exams in December, and then just also doing the trainings, reading some books, playing some FIFA in the middle, pretty much, and also at the beginning of the quarantine, baking like I think like everyone else, a lot of cooking and trying new recipes, but not much than that.
How's the coaching license thing been going? Is that what you envision the next step of your career one day is to transition into that world?
I mean, it started like something that it was pretty manageable together with my football career. So it wasn't taking me a lot of time, and it's also that it's very related with that. So I can also always take exercises and things and tools that I use as a player to use as a coach. So I'm not sure yet if I want to keep, if I want to be a first division or if I want to be on academies yet. But I definitely I started and I want to finish it. So I already did everything, but I just need to do the final exams. And in order to do that, I need also some practicing hours with the kids. So hopefully I can do it here when everything resumes as well. So, but now it's a good time to start reviewing everything and getting ready for the final tests.
Yeah, very cool. So obviously unique times at the moment. What in your mind has been the most difficult part in terms of the team from everyone being away right now, but then also at the same time, what has the club and leaders of the club like yourself done to take the best advantage of what's happening right now?
Yeah, for me, the most difficult thing is seeing everybody every day, having that chemistry and that relation with the guys, and also the routine of going to trainings and enjoying and being part of something, and what we've done is basically we're doing a lot of team building culture things. We're still going a lot into tactics, videos and stuff. So at least we get to see everybody's face and have a little feedbacks and conversation between each other. So that's at least we get something from, like you said, from all this situation. And of course, it's never the same as doing it in person, but at least this is the most we can get right now.
Very cool.
That's awesome. Let's talk a little bit about your soccer career. Obviously, you were born in Argentina. You grew up in Buenos Aires, right? So tell us a little bit about that. What was it like? How did you grow up? What was your family like? Do you have siblings?
Yes. So pretty nice childhood. I'm the youngest of 4 sisters, actually.
Oh wow!
I have a couple. 1 niece and 3 nephews. One of him is 21 or 22 already, so we're pretty similar age. So yeah, big family, so yeah, I mean that's pretty much how my family is built.
That's good. I guess as a kid growing up in Argentina, I imagine it's similar to how it was in Mexico, but soccer is just everywhere and everybody's playing all the time. But was there anybody specific that got you into soccer, or how did your youth career start?
Yeah, to be honest, no one in my family was really into it. Like my father liked to watch games and everything, but never played. So I have no idea. It was very like natural and unborn because It just started with me when I was really a kid, like 3-4 years old. All I was doing was playing with the ball. So, and like you said, the soccer balls are everywhere. Everybody wants to be a soccer player down there. But if I think about someone in my family, I can't remember someone that really got me into that. And then of course it's not easy because everybody wants to be a soccer player, so there's a lot of competition. So you gotta really be focused on what you want to do, and you gotta train a lot because there's a lot of kids out there wanting the same.
How Lucho, how old were you when you realized that you might be good enough to do it as a career?
I mean, I was always one of the best players on the teams that I was. Always playing amateur, you know. You usually start in indoor soccer in Argentina. Used to score a lot of goals. Then I went to another team. Also in my school, I used to be very good. And then actually it wasn't easy because when I went to when I started my academy process, you know, I lack of maybe I wasn't strong enough for many things yet, but I was just very constant. So my first year I didn't even play a game because it's divided into what. So there's like two rosters, and they play one league that is an okay league, but it doesn't, like, if you follow that pattern, it doesn't take you to professional. So so the kids that aren't playing in the best league, they go down and play in that league. So that first year I trained with the guys that follow the path to professional, but I played the whole year in the other league. And then they almost waived me on my first year, but we were switching coaches from like U14 to U15. So the other guy, he wanted me. And then I started training with them, and then that's why I started like kind of raise my game. And I used to like train a lot and much more than the rest. And then I actually was one of maybe one or two that make it professional from, I would say, hundreds of guys, you know, because there's a lot of guys, and yeah, I mean, it's not easy. It's very competitive in Argentina.
For sure. How did you made your debut with Platense? Did you play in their youth ranks before that?
I play with them. Yeah, that's what I did my whole like academy process. It was with Platense. Yes. And I debuted when I was 17. So like after like that year, everything went pretty fast. I started playing in bigger, you know, against. They put me in teams where guys were older. So I was maybe 16, already 17, and I was playing already with 20, 21 years old guys, because they were seeing that I needed that thing to jump to the first team. So I played a couple games with them, and then they put me to train already with the first team.
That's awesome. So you debut there, you play for Platense for a while, and then I was going through your history, and all of a sudden you find yourself kind of on the opposite side of the world. You're in Europe, you're in Portugal, Sweden, Finland. How did that transition happen?
So from my agent, he found this opportunity to go to Portugal, and it was also, they would put me into the youth process, but at the same time they want me to do some trainings with the first team and see how it go. And I actually did really good, but because of Asian things and stuff like that, it didn't work out. Things like happen in football with money and fees and stuff. I actually shake hands with one of not the president, but a big guy, and he says, "See you on preseason," and then nothing happens. So, but that's very common in our world. So I don't regret. I also, you never know what could happen. So then I ended up going back to Argentina, I think, and then play a year there. I was a free agent for like 6 months, and then all that started. I went to Sweden, Finland, and then come back to Argentina. But it was a long journey.
How did the transition to Major League Soccer come about in the United States, where you obviously still play now?
Yeah, so I played my last year in Finland, and I came back to a first division team in Argentina, and I played there for like 4 months. Actually, I did the preseason. I'm play like, I don't know, 6, 8, 10, between 8 and 10 games, I would say. I can't remember really. And then my agent got a call from a former top player in Argentina, which is Claudio Lopez. He played in Mexico a lot, and he was the manager for Colorado. And he said they were scouting me, and they sent people to watch some of my games, and we have meetings, and they like me, and that's how I end up signing in Colorado first.
Wow, cool. And what was the difference? Did you notice a big difference between soccer in this country and where you were playing before, or was the talent level pretty similar to what you were used to?
I think maybe it was more talent in Argentina, and mostly with kids you can see the difference. But the intensity and how physical it was here, that was very impressive. Everybody looks like a athlete, here.
Yeah.
So and actually had altitude at the beginning in Colorado,
Sure.
which I snowed for like a week, and I was there on training. So I said, these guys are flying, and then they came to me and explained me that it was altitude, and then I kind of relax and say, okay, this is gonna take time, but I will adapt. But it wasn't easy. It took me a while to adapt because of the altitude and the rhythm. Here the games are all the time back and forth, so it's very intense.
So after Colorado, you went to Chicago, a club where you would go on to make over 50 appearances for. How was that experience? How did you like? Obviously, it's a very cool city. So how was that?
Yeah, I mean, I'm in love with especially with the city. It's one of the only places that I would change for Buenos Aires, and then the team, it was probably the peak of my career. So I really enjoyed the time there until, of course, last year, which I started having all these issues with my hip and couldn't really get to the level because of dealing with so many injuries and pain all the time. So my last year was probably the worst of my career. Not because of number, because at that point I really didn't care about that because health was first, but because of how much pain and suffer I was. I didn't enjoy it at all. It was like a punishment to be playing because it cost me a lot to get to the trainings and to get to games as well. So I would say both emotions, right? First the best, and then at the very last, not because of the team, but because of my condition, was probably the worst and very sad time for me.
When you look back at that period, Lucho, do you think the decision to take a year off from soccer was, in retrospect, a really good one? Like you said, your health is your priority to get your body right and continue.
Yeah, I mean, so I will go back before that. I would say that the decision was to have the surgery. The year off was because of that decision of the surgery. So, I mean, you never know about decisions. I think I did the right one because when I met with the surgeon, he told me, if you want to compete, I'm not talking about getting by or playing a little bit. If you want to compete, you have to do the surgery. Because this guy does a lot of 300 surgeries a year, like this one, and he told me, I've seen this many times. Nobody wants to get surgery, but if you don't do it, you won't be able to compete anymore. So it took me actually 2 months to make that decision because there was a window that I could still play through, like I did for 10 years before that. But then I realized it would cost me a lot, so I decided to do it. And looking back, it took me a while. But what I think is more my life after soccer. I don't want to be dragging on the ground playing with my kids because I cannot move. So that was my priority at the moment, because with this, you never know if you will be able to get to your peak of your career, because you are never the same after a surgery like that. So I did it more because, okay, if I cannot play soccer anymore, at least I fixed this for my future life. So I don't regret at all for that.
Right. No, that makes sense. And like we've talked about before, the journey continues. It's led you to San Antonio, where we're obviously extremely thrilled to have you as a player of your caliber within our organization and a leader of your caliber. You're also at the moment the 2020 San Antonio FC assist leader. So with number one, but in all seriousness, that first match with the club, what did you think of the atmosphere at Toyota Field and the crowd? And obviously it was a really big win on the field.
Yeah, no, it was amazing, because from the beginning, that really put me in retrospective and seeing everything I did to get to that game. And that was actually, we are not supposed to tell this, but when we meet in the middle, with the guys before, I was the captain that day, and I didn't want to say much because I think we said it all throughout the week, but I only thanked them because it was my first professional game after 2 years, and I told them it was an honor for me to play with them and to be here. So I'm very, very grateful for that, and also atmosphere and everything. It's when everything makes sense, everything you did, all the effort you put, it just all comes together and makes sense. And it was very special night for me. And of course, we put a lot of work with the guys throughout the pre-seasons, and we knew how important it was to start the season with a win. So I think everything worked out that night.
For sure.
From a personal standpoint, what was going through your head, when you got that assist, you bang the ball across the box, it goes in, and all that time that you took off and all this preparation that you'd been going through personally after the injury, what were you thinking when that happened?
I think this is what I did. This is the reason what I did all I did before, all the effort, I've been rehabbing, almost 2 years just by my own. I mean, of course, I have professionals that helped me a lot, but at the end, the only motivation was myself, because there was no cloud, there was nothing assured me that after my rehab someone would want me. So I was just having faith and doing everything by my own, which was very, very difficult. So in that moment when that ball came in, I said, this is why I did everything I did. So it was very special.
Yeah, I think it might be difficult to get Callum to admit it, but I feel like you did most of the work on that one. He just kind of had to make sure his foot was pointing in the right direction, and it found its way in. But that was really good. Changing gears a little bit, Lucho, for fun here. Impress me and Luis over here. Who would you say is the most, or who's the best footballer that you've played with or against in your career?
So for me, that one is easy because Bastian Schweinsteiger is there. I spent almost 2 years with him. I got also a good relation. So for me, he is the best player I play with. And also, if you want me to add, the best one I play against in my career in the MLS was Giovinco, the Italian.
Okay. Mm-hmm.
It was that year that he killed it. He scored like 10, 12 goals just from free kicks. Insane player. For me, was one of the best I've seen.
Awesome. That's really cool.
Giovinco's good, man. He used to be a frequent addition on my FIFA team. No, that's awesome. Well, from a personal standpoint, Lucho, what do you like to do? When we're allowed to go outside and in your free time, how do you spend your time?
You mean outside, like after this thing?
Yeah, like or before this thing, I guess.
Yeah. I mean, I'm pretty simple. I really enjoy a nice cup of coffee in a nice place. That's all I need, and I'm looking forward to that, to go to some nice places and have a nice coffee, stay there. That's I really like it, and if I can do it with some of the guys, have a nice conversations and enjoying a nice cup of coffee, that's it for me. I'm really simple.
What's the best goal you've ever scored? I know you had one with Chicago in St. Louis, actually, in an Open Cup game, right? Is that one at the top, or are there others?
Yeah, probably it's at the top because of the the gesture that I did.
Yeah.
There's also another ones, but that's probably the most amazing. The only thing that I would change for that to make it more spectacular is that the environment. Maybe if it happened in an MLS game with a bigger stadium or bigger footage or whatever, it would be more spectacular. But for me, it was amazing. It's something like I really came all the time to my mind to do someday, and that day just happened. So it was amazing for me.
If we were to do a video when we're all back together of our guys on the team trying to recreate that goal, who would you put your money on our team being the one to be able to do it?
I mean, probably Christian could do it. He's insane, so he probably could be one of them. And then I would say, I mean, I put some money on Gonza probably also. I've seen him using his outside foot a little bit as well. He could backheel it as well.
Nice. Well, we'll make sure Luis sets that up. We'll make that happen.
We will, for sure. I'm curious, just touching back on a previous point, of all the places you've lived, what has been your favorite country and why?
So, yeah, I mean, maybe because of also my relation with my career and everything, I would say Chicago was the best place for me. Because I'm very simple, but I really like those kind of cities, like big cities. Where you can find a lot of places to do whatever you like. I felt very connected. So, I mean, I've been in like other places that are beautiful, like Stockholm, for example. It's amazing, but it got me in an age that I wasn't really, focused on those things. But Chicago probably got me a little bit older and more conscious. So I really got to enjoy it. So I think Chicago was the best for me.
Awesome.
Very cool. Did you have a favorite spot to go to in San Antonio before we all had to stay in the comfort of our own homes for the last couple of months?
So I found this place called La Panaderia. I don't know if you guys know it.
Yeah, sure.
What I do first is I go some places and I try the coffees and I see which one is the one I like more. So these guys made the one, I don't know if it's the best, but it was the best for me at least. So I kept going a lot to that place. So now I'm still waiting for it.
Very cool.
That's awesome. Where is that?
I don't know how to explain it. It's like, it's not fun. There's also a place on the Riverwalk. I can't remember the name. It's like an Italian restaurant. Has also good food and also nice espressos after. So, but I can't remember now the name. I think it's pretty well known, but I can't remember.
Well, hopefully sooner rather than later, we're all able to get back out and go to these places. I think that would be good for everyone. Lucho, in whatever, obviously there's a lot of unknowns with the rest of the season, but if we do make it back on the field here soon as a team, what are your personal goals and then goals for the squad as we approach, whatever version the season might look like?
Yeah, I mean, I think my goals, except for one, they go pretty together with the team goals, which is like every team try to be champions as well, of course. It's not easy, but that's, I think everybody plays for that. And then my goals, my biggest goal is to is to stay healthy and to be able to play as many games as possible, feeling good, and of course then try to score as many goals as possible. To that goes together with the team objective of help the team get that championship.
Good. Well, hopefully all those things come true. It'll be a good end to a very interesting year for sure.
For sure.
Well, cool. Well, Lucho, we won't take any more of your time. We really appreciate you being on with us today. Obviously, you're one of the most experienced players on our roster with a really interesting story, and we really appreciate you coming on and sharing it with us and all of our listeners / viewers now that we're on video.
Yeah. All right,
well,
guys.
Cool.
From the invitation, like I said before, I really also enjoy to so people can know us, know that we are not robots. Sometimes that and connect with them, and also special thanks to those who came to our first game, and for sure they're excited to get to our games when everything comes out a little bit.
Awesome. Well, I feel like that's a really good way to end it. I will add one more thing to remind everyone to get your San Antonio Strong shirts, if I can actually get the words out. They are still available online at sfcfanshop.com and at the Soccer Factory, and 50% of the proceeds will help with the Spurs Give COVID-19 relief fund. So get your shirts, wear them. I know Luis is getting his. Hopefully,
it's on the way.
It's on the mail. Awesome. Well, great. Well, again, thanks everyone for joining us, and we'll catch up with all of you soon.
All right, guys. Thank you.